Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm here to do one of my favorite videos every month, and that is to go ahead and take a look at all of the new book releases that are coming out in August. I have been loving doing this with you guys. I don't really look at anything ahead of time. I just kind of go through it with you, and I think it's so much more fun that way. So I'm gonna go ahead, pull up Goodreads, and let's check out what new books are coming out next month. The screen is so bright, so I do apologize, but I'm so excited. I think this time around, I haven't done this the past couple of times. I'm also gonna go ahead and open up my wish list because I haven't been adding the ones I'm interested in to my wish list, and then later I have to go back and re-watch my video to see which ones I actually was interested in. It just sounds a little bit easier. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up my wish list as well. Okay, so starting off, new books coming out in August. I like to start off with the books from authors that I've read before, authors that I'm, obviously a little bit more familiar with. So let's check out some of those first. So first, it looks like we have a new book coming from Stacey Willingham. I believe I've only ever read one Stacey Willingham. I do own A Flicker in the Dark. I do need to read A Flicker in the Dark, but I did enjoy her as an author. This is called Forget Me Not. I love the colors of this cover, like the purple and the blue and the green. That's so pretty. And it looks like there's a car in the background too. I didn't even notice that. Interesting. It says it's a pulse-pounding new Southern thriller from the author of the runaway bestseller, A Flicker in the Dark. There we go. All right, this one says it's 22 years ago, Claire Campbell's older sister Natalie disappeared shortly after her 18th birthday. Days later, her blood was found in a car, a man was arrested, and the case was swiftly closed. That explains the car in the picture. In the decades since, Claire has attempted to forget her traumatic past by moving to the city and climbing the ranks as an investigative journalist, until an unexpected call from her father forces her to come back home and face it all anew. I actually really like that. With the entire summer now looming ahead, a summer spent with nothing to do in her childhood home with her estranged mother, Claire decides on a whim to accept a seasonal job at Galloway Farm, a vineyard in coastal South Carolina less than an hour away from where she grew up. Okay. At first glance, Galloway is an idyllic escape for Claire, a scenic retreat full of slow-paced nostalgia. South Carolina is very slow-paced. I love it. As well as a place where her sister seemed truly happy in that last summer before she vanished. It feels like the perfect plan to pass the time. However, as soon as Claire starts to settle in, she stumbles across an old diary written by one of the vineyard's owners, and what at first seems like a story of young rebellion and love turns into something much more sinister as it begins to describe details of various unsolved crimes. As the days stretch on, Claire finds herself becoming more and more secluded as she starts to obsess over the diary's contents, as well as the lingering feeling that her own sister's disappearance may be somehow tied to it all. Honestly, this sounds really interesting. I think the fact that she's an investigative journalist really just ties it all together, of course. But this is something that I feel like Book of the Month would probably pick, and if so, it might be my pick for August because this sounds pretty interesting. And I completely forgot to mention the date, but Forget Me Not's expected publish date is August 26th. Next, from Darcy Coates, which I am so excited about. I've only read one book from Darcy Coates, but I now own 3, and I was obsessed with that one book. But this is a new one coming out August 26th as well. This is How Bad Things Can Get. It says it was supposed to be the party of the century, miles of idyllic. Why is idyllic in both of these? That's so weird. White sand beaches, lush jungle foliage, and a dark legend nobody dreamed might be all too true. Sounds like an urban legend, which is one of my favorite types of horror. It says when an online influencer and several hundred of his most loyal fans land on Prosperity Island, the plan is simple. 5 days of elaborate games, drinking, and suntanned fun. Okay, this sounds like a Mr. Beast situation. Week in Paradise should have been a welcome respite. The only survivor of an infamous cult, Ruth wants nothing more than to keep her head down and not draw attention. She spent decades outrunning her blood-soaked childhood, and her identity is a closely held secret. Okay, so she's got a backstory. Then the true history of the island is revealed, along with its sinister connection to Ruth's past. As guests go missing and games turn deadly, Ruth and the rest of the attendees are forced to question whether they've really been invited to paradise or whether something much darker and far bloodier is waiting for them just beyond the bonfire's light. This does sound interesting. I feel like I don't like reading about influencers. I think I read one thriller where the main gal that went missing was an influencer, and I genuinely did not like that part of the story because she has such a terrible past. This sounds like it could be very interesting, so I am definitely going to add this one to the wish list because this sounds pretty great, and I loved the last book from Darcy Coates that I read. And then the last one from authors that I have read from before, I actually have this pre-ordered, so I'm so excited. I pre-ordered this a while ago, so I read Dead 11 from Jimmy Giuliano, which is his debut novel, and I was obsessed with it, and then I saw this was coming out, so I just immediately pre-ordered it, so I'm very excited. This is expected to come out August 12th, and it's called 13 Months Haunted by Jimmy Giuliano. Giuliano. This is from Dead 11 author Jimmy Giuliano, a twisty edge-of-your-seat novel about a unique haunting in the early 2000s. Love this cover, love that it's a CD. I am so excited. It says Piper Lowry. I feel like that name is in a scary movie, right? Piper Lowry? Maybe I made that one up. A public library clerk in charge of liaising with the local middle school can tell right away there's something strange about the new girl in 8th grade. Avery Wallace, which I love that her name's Avery, won't touch any kind of technology, not even the computers at the library, and her mother comes to school with her every day, refusing to leave her side, not even when Avery uses the restroom. And then there are the rumors, the whispers Piper hears from kids in the hallway and parents around Avery's mother is a witch. Her sister and father, this sounds way too close to home, were killed by something supernatural. A strange virus killed them. Seeing how isolated and lonely Avery is, Piper befriends her but quickly realizes it might just be the worst decision she's ever made because there's something dark inside Avery Wallace and it's spreading. I cannot wait for this to come out. Like I said, I pre-ordered this forever ago. I literally cannot wait to have this in my hand. Will I read it right away? Hopefully, but I cannot wait to have this one. I'm so excited. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at the most popular books that are being published in August, just to kind of see some from authors that I've never read from before. Up first, number 1, not shocked about this one, from R.F. Kuang. We have It's Catabasis, I don't know, but it looks great. It's expected to come out August 26th. 2 graduate students must set aside their rivalry and journey to hell to save their professor's soul, perhaps at the cost of their own. Kind of sounds like Ninth House, just a pinch. It says Alice Law has only ever had one goal, to become one of the brightest minds in the field of magique. She has sacrificed everything to make that a reality, her pride, her health, her love life, and most definitely her sanity. All to work with Professor Jacob Grimes at Cambridge, the greatest magician in the world. That is until he dies in a magical accident that could possibly be her fault. Grimes is now in hell and she's going in after him. Because his recommendation could hold her very future in his now incorporeal, I can read, hands, and even death is not going to stop the pursuit of her dreams, nor will the fact that her rival, Peter Murdoch, has come to the same conclusion. This sounds great. Honestly, I have never read from R.F. Kuang before though, and I've heard great things. I don't know if I want this one to be my first one though. I also don't think I want Babel to be my first from R.F. Kuang either. I'll see what the reviews say. I'll kind of give it a chance. We shall see. Next, it looks like we have the start of a mystery thriller series, which I do tend to enjoy a thriller series. This is from Karen Slaughter. It's expected to come out August 12th, and it is called We Are All Guilty Here. It is the start of the North Falls mystery thriller series. It says, welcome to North Falls, a small town where everyone knows everyone, or so they think, until the night of the fireworks when 2 teenage girls vanish and the town ignites. For Officer Emmy Clifton, it's personal. She turned away when her best friend's daughter needed help, and now she must bring her home. But as Emmy combs through the puzzle, the girls left behind, she realizes she's never really knew them. Nobody did. Every teenage girl has secrets, but who would kill for them, and what else is the town hiding? That is a very short and brief description. It sounds great. I don't think I've read, oh no, obviously, I've never read from Karen Slaughter, but I am interested in this. This also kind of sounds like a book of the month pick, so we shall see. I kind of want to make it a thing to start guessing what are going to be the book of the month picks, but I also feel like I would be so wrong every time. Speaking of though, I do think this might be an aardvark pick. I think it was spoiled a bit, but we shall see. This is from Maisie Eddings. It's called Well Actually, and it's expected to come out August 5th. This cover is so cute. I love the like, I don't know, kind of retro looking romance covers. I think they're just so cute. It's one of those that I think is just like absolutely precious. It says Eva Kitt never expected to be the host of Sausage Talk, interviewing B-list celebrities over lukewarm hot dogs. Is this a fanfic of that like chicken shop girl? Interesting. Instead of pursuing the journalism career she dreamed of, but when Eva's impromptu public call out of her college ex goes viral, she's thrust into the spotlight. It doesn't help set ex as Riley Cooper, a beloved social media personality that has built a platform on deconstructing toxic masculinity and teaching men how to be good partners. Forced to confront Riley on a live episode of Sausage Talk, he offers Eva a deal, allow him to take her on a series of dates to make up for his toxic behavior, then debrief them on his channel to show he's changed. Eva refuses to play nice, but agrees to the scheme to advance her own career and continue defaming Riley's good name. When these manufactured dates start to feel real, Eva has to wonder if the boy that broke her heart has become the man that might heal it. I don't know. This is like a really interesting take on a romance, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. It's enemies to lovers, second chance, which I do tend to enjoy both of those. And like I said, I think this is going to be an aardvark pick, so maybe. Looks like we have another thriller mystery coming out. This is August 5th expected date. This is called The Locked Ward from Sarah Pekanen. This looks pretty interesting. It says whatever the it says, was it bitter, all-consuming jealousy, pathological sibling rivalry, or pure insanity? Whatever the cause, and everyone has a theory, it's the crime of the decade when glamorous Georgia Cartwright, who was adopted as a newborn, is accused of killing the biological daughter of her wealthy Southern family. Georgia is locked in a psychiatric institution where the most violent offenders are held while she awaits trial. The only words she whispers when her estranged twin sister Amanda visits are, "It's a lot of sisters. I didn't do it. Gotta get me out of here." Amanda doesn't trust Georgia, but she can't abandon her in a place so eerie and menacing that it seems to exist in another dimension. Okay, I kind of wish that's part of the story. Hopefully it is. Is Georgia the victim of a powerful family that's so depraved murder is the least of their crimes, or is Amanda being led down a path of madness into the web of a master manipulator? Nothing is as it seems in Sarah Buchanan's The Lock Ward, a shocking psychological thriller. I was about to say, is it a psychological thriller? About the complex bonds of sisterhood and what happens when they are stretched to the breaking point. Some doors in the locked ward should never be opened. This sounds like unreliable narrator, psychological thriller, like it said. This sounds pretty interesting. This isn't something I'm like immediately reaching towards, but I do think if the reviews are really good for this one, it might be something I grab eventually. Another thriller, I feel like there's a lot of thrillers coming out in August, but this is one I've heard a ton about. This is from Samantha Downing. It's expected to come out August 12th, and it's called Too Old for This. I love an older person protagonist, especially like Vera Wong's, or what's the other one? Oh, the Thursday Murder Club. I love all that stuff. A retired serial killer's quiet life is upended by an unexpected visitor. To protect her secret, there's only one option left. What's another murder? Lottie Jones thought her crimes were behind her. Okay, that's interesting. Decades earlier, she changed her identity and tucked herself away in a small town. Her most exciting nights are the weekly bingo games at the local church and gossiping with her friends, when investigative journalist Plum Dixon shows up on her doorstep asking questions about Lottie's past, and specifically her involvement with numerous unsolved cases. Well, Lottie just can't have that. But getting away with murder is hard enough when you're young, and when Lottie receives another annoying knock on the door, she realizes this crime might just be the death of her. I love this cover. I love that it's an older woman. I love that it's a retired serial killer. I definitely think this is something I'm going to end up picking up because it just sounds great. This is another book that I think might be an aardvark pick based off of some of their recent sneak peeks. This is called The Hounding by Zenobi Purvis. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Expected to come out August 5th. It says The Crucible meets the Virgin Suicides in this haunting debut about 5 sisters in a small village in 18th century England whose neighbors are convinced they're turning into dogs. This might have to be my aardvark pick. What? Even before the rumors about the Mansfield girls begin, Little Nettlebed is a village steeped in the uncanny, from strange creatures that wash up on the riverbed to portentous ravens gathering on the roofs of people about to die. But when the villagers start to hear barking and one claims to see the Mansfield sisters transform before his very eyes, the allegations spark fascination and fear like nothing has before. This is a horror too. The truth is that though the inhabitants of Little Nettlebed have never much liked the Mansfield girls, a little odd, think some, a little high on themselves perhaps, they've always had plenty to say about them. As the rotating perspectives of 5 villagers quickly make clear, okay, so it sounds like 5 points of view, now is no exception, even if local belief in witchcraft is waning and aversion to difference is as widespread as ever. And these conflicting narratives all point to the same ultimate conclusion. Something isn't right in Little Nettlebed, and the sisters will be the ones to pay for it. As relevant today as any time before, The Hounding celebrates the wild breaks from convention we're all sometimes pulled toward, and wonders if in a world like this one, it isn't safer to be a dog than an unusual young girl. This is a shorter horror too. It's 240 pages. Like I said, I think this is going to be an aardvark pick, and I'm kind of here for this. This might be my aardvark pick, honestly, because this looks insane. I'm obsessed with it. I just wanted to know, I know we're like halfway through this video at this point, but this is my first time using my new camera and I cannot tell if it's recording or not because I have the mic on top of it. So I'm just constantly checking and rearranging. So if there's, you know, constant movements in the way the frame is set up, just know that's me being anxious. It's okay, we'll look past it. So I saw this quote that says, like stepping into one of my favorite RPGs, and because I just recently read Dungeon Crawler Carl, which reads like an RPG, I was interested, but I have never seen this before. It's called Mistress of Bones by Maria Z. Medina. It's expected to come out August 5th. Looks like it is a young adult young fantasy. It's an epic multi-POV debut fantasy perfect for fans of The Bone Shard Daughter and Six of Crows, where a necromancer trying to resurrect her sister gets embroiled in bigger world-ending plans instead. Interesting. Necromancer Azul del Arroyo only wants one thing: to steal her sister back from death by reclaiming her sister's bones, but the emissary of the Lord Death will do anything to stop her, no matter how alluring he finds her. As their paths collide, they're drawn into a deadly game of pawns and power with a count who begrudgingly works for a child king, a faceless witch who transforms the bones of gods into dreams he can peddle, and a long-lost half-brother with a secret of his own, and soon realize the fate of the lands is hanging in the balance. For long ago, the gods raised the continents, binding them with their own bones to keep humanity alive, but in an era when the gods' sacrifice has been forgotten, death might not be the only resentful god Azul must defy. Swashbuckling, grand, and tragically romantic, Mistress of Bones is a can't-miss start to a duology about love, loss, and of course death. The cover looks incredible. This just does not sound interesting to me. I saw that quote from Susan Denner, the one of an author, I guess, and I just thought that sounded great, but I don't think this is going to be for me. However, it sounds interesting. if it's for you. So I went to skip over this and then I realized who the author was and I got kind of excited. This is expected to come out August 5th. It's called The Magician of Tiger Castle by Louis Sachar. He's the author of Holes and I got kind of excited seeing that. This says this is his first adult novel, which is great. A modern fantasy classic of forbidden love, a crumbling kingdom, and the unexpected magic all around us. This is a historical fiction, cozy historical fantasy. Sounds great, honestly. Long ago and far away and somewhere south of France lies the kingdom of Escovita, where Princess Tulia is in nearly as much peril as her struggling kingdom. Escovita desperately needs to forge an alliance, and to that end, Tulia's father has arranged a marriage between her and an odious prince. However, 1 month before the wedding of the century, Tulia falls in love with a lowly apprentice scribe. Oh, this actually sounds really cute. The king turns to Anatole, his much maligned magician. There's a lot of magicians too this month. 17 years earlier, when Anatole first came to the castle, he was regarded as something of a prodigy, but after a long series of failures, the latest being an attempt to transform sand into gold, he has become the object of contempt and ridicule. The only one who still believes in him is the princess. When the king orders Anatole to brew a potion that will ensure Tulia agrees to the wedding, Anatole is faced with an impossible choice. With one chance to save the marriage, the kingdom, and of most importance to him, his reputation. Will he betray the princess or risk ruin? I don't think I'll read it, but it sounds pretty cute and the cover is just really, really, really pretty. Now this cover, pretty crazy. This is expected to come out August 5th. This is The Dead Husband Cookbook by Danielle Valentine. It says it's another thriller, horror, mystery thriller, which sounds perfect for me. It says she is the recipe for the perfect murder. Maria Capello is a celebrity chef like no other, a household name, an inspiration, an icon. Okay. Her dozens of cookbooks and weekly television show broadcasts from her beautiful Italian-style kitchen, not to mention her line of best-selling supermarket sauces, and of course there's her history. Once just the timid wife of famous chef Damien Capello, I almost just said, wow, Capello sounds familiar. Yeah, because her name is also Capello. She stepped into the spotlight after Damien's mysterious disappearance 20 years before, an event she's never spoken about publicly until now, when it is announced that she is looking for a publisher for her memoirs. Why is Maria willing to finally break her silence? Why does she turn down 7-figure offers from large publishing houses and sign up with a small press? And why does she do so on the condition that it is edited by Thea Woods? Thea is a lifelong fan but has never met Maria and still can't figure it out. Plus, she had been planning to hand in her notice that very day. I have a thought. But when she is invited to Maria's remote farm to work on the manuscript, she can't resist. After all, she may finally learn whether the rumors are that Maria killed Damien for his recipes and the legendary secret ingredient. Does this not sound like Evelyn Hugo, but like horror? Because like, that's what it kind of sounds like to me. Although, I do think I'm gonna read this one because it sounds pretty interesting and that cover is just, disgusting. I know this is expected to come out in August, but I feel like I've seen this one on shelves already, or maybe I'm just seeing something similar, but this is expected to come out August 5th. It is called Zom Rom-Com. It's the first in a series called Supernatural Entanglements, which I kind of love, and this is by Olivia Dade. Paranormal romance, fantasy, zombies, vampires. Honestly, this sounds incredible. When Edie Brandstrup attempts to save her sweet, seemingly harmless human neighbor from the first major zombie breach in 2 decades, okay, I'm already obsessed. She's stunned to be saved by him and his ridiculously large sword instead. All right. As it turns out, he's actually a super old, super surly vampire, but for all her neighbor's newly revealed cynicism and lethality, Gaston Max Boucher, it says yes, Gaston, is unexpectedly protective. He wants her to stay in his safety bunker until the breach is resolved. Edie can't risk more innocent people getting killed though, and Max won't let her save them alone. As they unravel a sinister conspiracy to set zombies loose on the world again, the duo meet a host of lovable allies and discover they're not the only ones willing to fight for the future of humanity. Despite the awful timing, Edie finds herself falling for the vampire who's helping her save the world, but all their dangerous plans could end their future before it even begins. As she and Max battle side by side, Edie must decide whether having a love worth living for also means having a love you die for. And in a world that grows deadlier by the minute, whether that's a risk she's willing to take. Let me read some of these reviews. What? Okay, so the first is from someone I follow and it is a 1-star, so that's not promising. Oh no, this book is not getting good reviews. But it looks so interesting. I'll wait and see what other people say before I think about it. Here we have another horror with an incredible cover. I'm obsessed with this cover. This is expected to come out August 12th. It is called What Hunger by Catherine Dang. I love this cover so much. It says it's a haunting coming-of-age tale following the daughter of Vietnamese immigrants Ronnie Nguyen as she grapples with the weight of generational trauma while navigating the violent power of teenage girlhood. For fans of Jennifer's Body and Little Fires Everywhere, I'm in. It's the summer before high school and Ronnie finds herself too young for work, too old for cartoons. Girl, never. Her days are spent in a small backyard, dozing off to trashy magazines on a plastic lawn chair. In stark contrast stands her brother Tommy, the pride and joy of their immigrant parents, a popular honor student destined to be the first in the family to attend college. The thought of Tommy leaving for college fills Ronnie with dread as she contemplates the quiet house she'll be left alone in with her parents, Mi and Ba. Their parents rarely speak of their past in Vietnam except through the lens of food. The family's meals are a tapestry of cultural memory, thick spring rolls with slim and salty nem chua? Oh god, I'm gonna mispronounce all of this and I'm so sorry. And steaming bowls of pho with thin, delicate slices of blood red beef. In the aftermath of the war, Mi and Ba taught Ronnie and Tommy, I just got that together. That meat was a dangerous luxury, a symbol of survival that should never be taken for granted. But when tragedy strikes, Ronnie's world is upended, her sense of self and her understanding of her family are shattered. A few nights later, at her first high school party, a boy crosses the line and Ronnie is overtaken by a force larger than herself. This sounds like that movie Raw. This newfound power comes with an insatiable hunger for raw meat, a craving that is both a saving grace and a potential destroyer. What hunger is a visceral, emotional journey through the bursts and pitfalls of female rage. Ronnie's Vietnamese lineage and her mother's emotional memory play a crucial role in this tender ode to generational trauma and mother-daughter bonding. What? I'm intrigued. You're joking with the name of this next book. It is so cute. It's expected to come out August 26th. It's Let's Give 'Em Pumpkin to Talk About by Isabel Pop. The cover is so cute. This is so fall. I'm a little obsessed. The tagline says, she's a little edgy, he's a lot of sunshine. Love's about to catch them completely off guard. Get out of here. Textile artist Sadie Fox did not sign up for this. When she agreed to come home to Pea Blossom, Indiana, it was to care for her father's beloved pumpkin patch. I'm so dead. The deal was that just for the summer, she would grow a ginormous pumpkin, win the Indiana State Fair's pumpkin contest, and finally win back her father's respect. Instead, a horde of wild hogs. Reading's hard. Wild hogs are a pain though. Instead, a horde of wild hogs destroyed the entire patch, which is precisely when the annoyingly sexy, sunshiny next door neighbor shows up. Josh Thatcher is a tech millionaire who traded in the office for growing gourds, including experimental squash hybrids. And for the life of her, Sadie can't understand what he sees in her sweary, tattooed, prickly self, or why he's offering to help his biggest competitor. But a storm-fueled kiss proves there's definitely something growing between them. Ayo. Maybe it's just attraction, maybe it's more, whatever it is, it's already bigger than Sadie's fast-growing pumpkin or the secret that Josh has been hiding. From showing up to glowing up, the characters in Afterglow books are on the path to leading their best lives and finding sizzling romance along the way. Don't miss any of these other fun titles. Whale. I don't know, this sounds really cute. Like, this sounds really adorable. I'm kind of into this. Oh, this tagline also just got me, by the way. Oh my god. This is another paranormal romance, which I apparently love right now. This is expected again to come out August 26th. August 26th is gonna be a great pub day. This is called Love's a Witch by Trisha O'Malley, and this is a part of the Scottish Charms. It's Scottish Charms #1 series, it looks like. It says, listen to this tagline. Charmed, which is one of my favorite shows growing up, meets the Pumpkin Spice Cafe in this cozy romantasy. All right, I'm sold. She's hexed, he's vexed, and for Scotland's most magical small town, their feud might just spell disaster. Sloane McGregor swore she'd never return to Briarhaven, but with her 25th birthday looming, the day witches come into their magic, her grandmother summons her and her sisters back for one tiny task: break the centuries-old curse haunting their bloodline. Wait, this actually sounds incredible. Knox Douglas, Briarhaven's grumpy mayor, has worked tirelessly to make his town a haven for magical folk. The last thing he needs is a cursed McGregor wreaking havoc. It doesn't matter he once crushed on her. For the sake of Briarhaven, Sloane has to go, but magic has other plans, and in Briarhaven, love really is a witch. Yep, I'm gonna read that one. You can't talk me out of it. I'm gonna read it. It's so cute. So this was not on from my authors I've read before list, but I have read from this author before. This is expected to come out August 19th. It's The Possession of Alba Diaz by Isabel Cañas. I read the vampire book by Isabel Cañas. I didn't enjoy it, but I read it, so I don't know why it wasn't on there, but interesting. This says, when a demonic presence awakens deep in a Mexican silver mine, I'm already there. The young woman it seizes must turn to the one man she shouldn't trust. Already there. That sounds so good. In 1765, a plague sweeps through, I'm not gonna be able to pronounce this, so we're just not gonna try, and I'm so sorry. Alba flees with her wealthy merchant parents and fiancé Carlos to his family's isolated mine for refuge, but safety proves fleeting as other dangers soon bear their teeth. Alba begins suffering from strange hallucinations, sleepwalking, and violent convulsions. She senses something cold lurking beneath her skin, something angry, something wrong. Elias, haunted by a troubled past, came to the New World to make his fortune and escape his family's legacy of greed. Alba, as his his cousin's betrothed is none of his business, which is of course why he can't help but notice her every time she enters a room or the growing tension between them, and why he notices her deteriorate when the demon's thirst for blood goes stronger. So this sounds interesting, but the summary also sounds the way the Vampires of El Norte, that's what it was called, reminds me of. That book was more historical fiction romance and like a little splish splash of vampires. This also sounds like a historical fiction romance with a splish splash of demonic possession. I don't know if I'm gonna pick it up. If it's like a little bit heavier on the demonic possession, a little less of the historical fiction romance, I would, but I don't know, it doesn't sound like it. Oh, this sounds interesting. What is this? Okay, this is expected August 19th. It's called One Dark Night by Hannah Richel. This sounds incredible. I've never heard of this. When a body is found the day after Halloween, a small British community must reckon with its past and the dangers lurking in its present in this spine-tingling novel from not to be missed author Hannah Richel. Halloween, a group of teenage students meet in the woods near Sally in the Wood, which is a road steeped in local lore and rumored to be haunted by the ghost of a murdered girl. I'm there. By the end of the night, one student will be dead. Rachel, the school guidance counselor, is trying— oh, this sounds like multi-POV. Rachel, the school guidance counselor, is trying to keep a handle on her increasingly distant teenage daughter Ellie while students and parents panic and mourn. Her ex-husband and Detective Ben, dealing with a personal crisis of his own, has concerns about his daughter's safety as he investigates the death of one of her classmates. Meanwhile, Ellie is keeping secrets from both her parents, including one about where she was that night. Told from multiple perspectives, look at me, context clues. And with Hannah Richel's distinct atmospheric and ever-twisting prose, One Dark Night is a white-knuckled and a suspenseful thriller about urban legends, privilege, and how the past continues to haunt us. This sounds so interesting. Never heard of it before. Immediately adding to the wish list. It looks like there's so many horror and thriller books coming out in August. I'm just like itching to tell you about all of them. Next from Chuck Tingle. I do have a Chuck Tingle Bury Your Gaze that I still have not read, but it's another horror book expected to come out August 12th. Love this cover. It's called Lucky Day. It's the newest novel of terror where one woman must go up against the most horrifying concept of all: nothing. What? Vera is a survival of a global catastrophe known as the low probability event, but she definitely isn't thriving. Once a passionate professor of statistics, she no longer finds meaning in anything at all. But when problematic government agent Lane knocks on her door, she's the only one who can help him uncover the connection between deadly spates of absurdity and an improbably lucky casino. What's happening in Vegas isn't staying there, and the world is at risk of another disaster. When it comes to Chuck Tingle, the only thing more terrifying than a serious horror novel is an absurd one. What the hell is this book about? Someone said it's a bisexual statistics professor who has convinced herself she might not exist. I might read this one. We'll see. Just to know what's happening. Only a couple more that I think are pretty interesting. This is expected to publish August 12th. It's called Love at First Sighting by Mallory Marlowe. A chance at love might not be out of this world in the next romantic comedy. Oh, that sounds so good. I'm already out though. Los Angeles social media influencer Elle Martin seems to live the perfect aesthetic life, but what Elle doesn't wants more than anything is to find something real to make her heart race in a way it hasn't in years. She doesn't expect that feeling to come from capturing footage of an unidentified flying thing, much less from the charming man in black who keeps following her around. Wait a second, that actually sounds really funny. Agent Carter Brody is trying his best to keep the private intelligence sector afloat by dragging their hopelessly out-of-date office into this century, even though what he really wants to do is follow in his father's footsteps, identifying and hiding extraterrestrial sightings. He gets his chance after being assigned to Elle's case and is stopped in his tracks, not only by her ingenuity and competence, but also by the unnerving coincidence of how her sighting looks eerily like what he saw right before a family tragedy. The deeper Elle and Carter fall into the mystery, the harder it is for them to ignore their growing chemistry as their own alien feelings become dangerously terrestrial. Honestly, that sounds great. I love aliens. I would read this one. The next one is a gothic contemporary mystery thriller expected to come out August 26th. I'm telling you, August 26th is a day, man. It says, if you're seeing this, it's meant for you by Lee Stein. Fates collide after a tarot influencer disappears from a decaying Hollywood mansion in this unnerving gothic mystery and audacious social comedy from the acclaimed author of Self-Care. After her boyfriend dumps her in a Reddit post, unemployed 39-year-old Dana accepts an unusual opportunity from a man she stopped speaking to 20 years. Stopped speaking to 20 years ago is what I'm assuming. It doesn't say that. If Dana can help Craig transform his crumbling mansion into a successful hype house of influencers, he can restore his birthright to its former glory, and she can bring her career back from the dead. But missing from the mansion is Becca, an enigmatic tarot card reader who built a rabid fandom with her cryptic, soul-touching videos and then vanished. With 19-year-old Olivia, the newest member of the Hype House and one of Becca's biggest fans, Dana begins to build a social media campaign around Becca's disappearance that will catapult the creators to new heights of success. Too bad Craig forbids Dana from pursuing the mystery at its heart. As Olivia searches for traces of Becca in a labyrinthine house that seems intent on hiding its secrets, and Dana becomes entangled with both Craig and Jake, the resident heartthrob and the last person to see Becca, the two women make a shocking discovery that will upend everything. You may think you're inhabiting it, but is it really inhabiting you? There's so many people just alone in that synopsis. I feel like I would be so confused. The reviews are really good. So I don't know, might have to read it. And then last but not least, expected to come out August 5th. This is called Moderation. I love this cover by Elaine Castillo. It says a bold and inventive novel about real romance in the virtual workplace, bringing Castillo's trademark wit and sharp cultural criticism to an irresistible story about the possible future of love. What is this? Her name is Girly. Girly Del Mundo is the greatest content man. What the hell is it with influencers and thrillers this month? Girly Del Mundo is the greatest content moderator in the world, and despite the setbacks of financial crises, climate catastrophe, and a global pandemic, she's going places. She's getting a promotion, now thanks to her parent company, Paragon's purchase of Fairground, the world's preeminent virtual reality content provider. She's on the way to becoming an elite VR moderator, playing in the big leagues, and if her enthusiastic bosses are to be believed, moderating the next stage of human interaction. Despite the isolation that virtual reality requires from colleagues, friends, and family, the unbelievable perks of her new job mean she can solve a lot of her family's problems with money and mobility. She doesn't have to think about the childhood home they lost back in the Bay Area or history at all. She can just pay any debts that come due, but when she meets William Chung, Playground's wry, reticent co-founder, and slowly unearths some of his secrets and finds herself somehow falling in love, she'll learn that history might be impossible to moderate and the future utterly impossible to control. It says it's a sci-fi romance fiction, but like, I don't know, it sounds kind of interesting, honestly, and I really like this cover a ton. All right, so those are some of the new releases coming out in August. Obviously, there is a ton of books coming out, so if there's anything I didn't cover, definitely put it down below. I'm interested in pretty much everything at this point. I'm interested to see what book of the month and Aardvark choose. I have a few guesses, but I'm not 100% sure quite yet. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.